the reason why spring is the most important time for us to do this is because hopefully for you, you aren't being rocked by work yet, which gives us the opportunity to actually clean our gear.
Yes.
Tim, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't clean my gear very often. Pretty much when Marshall second shoots for me, he cleans my lenses.
That's very nice.
You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Lindsay and Tim.
Welcome to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. I'm Lindsay Coulter.
I'm Timothy Musa.
And we are the community-driven photography podcast. We're here to yap at you about all things photography related. Weddings, families,
portraits,
all of the things. We like to talk about events. We like to talk about what's happening in the photography industry.
Yes.
And today we are talking about spring cleaning as a photographer.
You can't already tell from our set. We've updated it to include some beautiful cherry blossoms, some lovely flowers from the dollar store, and these delightful bunny ears. So if you're not subscribed on YouTube, get over to YouTube and watch us look absolutely spring loaded.
Yes, spring hath sprung in the Shoot Your Shot studio. And this time of year, I think it's probably just because we live in a seasonal place.
We do.
This time of year always makes me just like light up. I'm like, oh, I'm coming out of my hibernation.
Yes.
I'm like, what's that bear out west that just came? Anyways, doesn't matter.
There's a bear? Like a specific bear?
A grizzly bear out west. I think his name... Oh,
is it that popular meme where he's just looking all haggard and comes out of the ring?
He's really famous. Oh, it's so sad.
Yogi.
No, it's really cool. Anyways, he's really fun. He just came out of hiding from his hibernation, and that's me currently right now.
Okay. How are your allergies, by the way? Are they good? Like, are you in check?
They're not good, but they're not horrible. Tim and I both suffer from
seasonal allergies. Mine are fine. I don't know what it is. I'm on daily meds, and I think that's just really helping.
I haven't even started taking Reactin yet.
Okay, you should start. Not to be your doctor and tell you what to do, but
I know I should. Yeah. But aside from the hay fever that's probably coming, and maybe actually that's why I've been having a headache for the past few days. So perhaps it is allergies.
Self-diagnosed.
But it is the time when I start looking at everything thinking, this is all trash and I need to fix it all.
Burn it.
You know, from my house to the decor in my own home to our actual physical studio. You know, we need to get the floors painted so freaking desperately, Tim. We need to finally revamp our washroom here at the studio. But then I'm also looking at my business and my workflows. I've started making new email templates.
Yes,
everything that has not seen light is seeing light.
Everything the light touches.
The dust is getting shaken off and we are cleaning. And so today's episode is entirely about spring cleaning as a photographer.
Where's the 8-ball?
You hustled it away while you were on the phone.
Oh, shoot. Lindsay, you got the 8-ball. If you don't already know, we roll the magic 8-ball. It is our higher power. We are godless beings here in the studio, and we need to look to something that's not just our own egos. So we stroke our own egos with a yes or no answer from the magic 8-ball. Lindsay, I want to know all of our spring cleaning plans outside of the list we've arranged here today, which includes gear, workspace, workflows, software, computer. Will our spring cleaning in our personal lives and our homes be everything we need it to be? Will it awaken the bear out west in us?
Yes.
Okay, need to know.
I really hope so.
Because I'm working on gardening stuff. I got some big plans for the yard.
You've got serious stuff going on out back.
Okay, let's see here.
Tim sent me a picture of his backyard yesterday. He's got the sauna wood stacked.
Oh yeah, I got the whole wood shed filled with wood. I got plans to till the yard. All signs point to yes, Lindsay.
Okay, so we're going to be elevated beings the next time you guys see us. The spring cleaning. Here's the important thing about spring cleaning. Okay. It's not a thing that needs to happen in one day.
No.
Rome was not built in a day, and neither will be overhauling the nastiness that is your current life, okay?
Yes.
Your life is dirty and disgusting and decrepit and falling apart. That shit's not getting solved in one day.
We can see it right now. Yeah. It's not getting solved in one day. And just recognizing that you have a problem is the first step.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're thinking to yourself, wow,
fuck these guys.
I absolutely hate this podcast. No, you don't. We're about to solve your problems. Yeah, I'm going to take these bunny ears off. Okay. Before I do, though, how cute. These are like a Teddy Sherpa bunny thing. I use them for my
they look really comfortable.
my spring mini sessions that
I'll keep mine on until I don't.
Posted. Yeah, no, I think you need to leave yours on, obviously.
It distracts. It draws the eyes up. Let's jump into everyone's favorite topic.
Gear.
We're not a gear podcast, but we do talk about it quite a bit because it gets good views. And it's the one thing that unifies us all is the bullshit we need to purchase and carry with us to do our job. So
Clickety clack, here we are.
Here we are.
So I think the most obvious thing when we're talking about spring cleaning is going to be the literal gear. Okay. So when we're talking about gear and the cleaning, you know, I think the reason why spring is the most important time for us to do this is because hopefully for you aren't being rocked by work yet.
Yeah.
If you live in a seasonal area like we do, the first few months of the year are rather chill, generally speaking, with work, which gives us the opportunity to actually clean our gear.
Yes.
So, Tim, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't clean my gear very often. Pretty much when Marshall second shoots for me, he cleans my lenses.
That's very nice.
And that's about when my gear gets cleaned. But I think you're better at this than I am. So maybe we'll throw this one over to you. Or you're not. You're disgusting also.
We're disgusting. No, I think it's a product of us shooting wide open. We're usually at 1.4, 1.8, or 2.8 for the most part, given that our lenses are quality and they go that low in aperture. So we don't have to worry too much about lens smears. We do have to worry about sensor dust. That's something I worry about every now and then.
Yeah.
I still have to buy one of those little rocket things that shoots air. I have an old one that my dad gave me from the 70s, but it's just not great. I noticed that I need to change and clean my gear when I see another video studio outside of Toronto called Outside in Studio. They meticulously clean their gear.
And they do it for every single shoot.
And it's like part of their prep reels of their stories of like what they're doing to prep for a wedding. It's like, and like,
yeah, they
like
did an ASMR video. It was really satisfying.
I should clean everything I have because I don't.
I think for them, maybe it's part of their ritual of mentally getting ready for a wedding.
And if you can make it part of your checklist of like, okay, I have this lens, I clean it, I put it into road case or bag, and now I know it's there.
Now I know it's there, yeah.
Brilliant way to do that.
Yes, for sure. I would say that my gear cleaning is more about actual like grime than it is about like...
Tell me more. What do you mean?
So... hands are oily.
Oh, okay. I thought you were dipping it in stuff.
And I touch my face, which is covered in makeup, constantly. So I clean my camera body very, very frequently.
Interesting.
Because I don't like the feel or the look of having like residue from makeup.
Lysol wipes. What are you using? What's your process?
I actually just use it depends on how nasty it is, but either I use the like lens cleaning wipes.
Yep.
I bought like a huge pack of them on Amazon. I think there's like 400 like individual lens cleaning wipes.
Great.
So I use that because I try to clean around like the viewfinder and the LCD screen and all of that.
Yeah.
So I use those, and then I try to not use Lysol and stuff because I think it is like pretty degrading to plastic. But I will use it if I feel like it needs like a good solid clean.
Right.
Or if I've been unwell and I've had to shoot, if I've been like sick, and I'm like, oh, this needs to be sanitized because I was shooting and breathing my face on it or whatever, with a cold or something like that, then I'll give it an actual proper clean. But this time of year, maybe pull all your stuff out, you nasty person, you, and give it a solid clean.
A one over, yeah.
There's really good, like you can get like a spray, just go on Amazon or go to your local camera shop.
You know what? When we were shooting DSLRs back in like the D750 days, and we get a new lens that wasn't like, maybe it was like an art lens, a Sigma or something else. Something we used to have to do all the time is get our lenses calibrated for focus, so we didn't just get back focus because it wasn't a perfect system. And
especially on a 1.4.
And 1.4 was very critical.
You're like, it's like if you don't have it perfectly tack sharp, it's going to be...
When I brought my lenses in to get them calibrated every year at BJ Photo or a local camera shop, he would clean them for me.
Service them, yeah.
So that's how I got my things clean.
I did send my stuff in there to get like serviced, basically. Just to have things serviced.
And also, this past October in Portugal for the... Way Up North of 2024, Canon provided free cleaning free cleaning, of lenses and sensors for camera bodies.
You can also, if you are part of NPS or CPS, Nikon Professional Services,
Canon Professional Services,
I'm sure Sony, I don't know, I'm guessing that they would have the same thing.
Yeah.
You can send your gear away. Now is maybe a good time for you to do that because generally when I have something go wrong with my gear, I have to wait until the end of the year. So I usually end up just buying the same thing and selling that one, because I don't have time to be without, a camera body or like a 70-200 for 2 weeks. Like that's just not in the cards for me.
No.
So I'm far more likely to actually just buy something and replace it.
Bingo.
But at this time of year, if you're remembering, I had an issue last year and I didn't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Do it now. It now before things get crazy.
Immediately.
So lenses, the actual physical camera bodies, your sensors. The other thing is check your SD cards.
Yes.
So
consumables.
I actually number my SD cards. I keep them in an SD card box.
Yes.
Controversial. I don't know. People said that was like
this
a problem.
box, because of static electricity within the box, so it has these little like trays, these little slits that your little SD card slide into, and because it's made of a foam fabric, it's more likely to conduct electricity through kinetic removing them.
Yeah.
As long as the contact points and electricity can damage a card
aren't going face down.
Have them facing up. That's what I do. It's perfectly fine.
I don't understand.
Live your life.
There was one TikToker that was
idiot.
like, I had 60 cards that all went corrupt, and I was like, did you put them all
They did
face
it for the
down?
plot.
They had to have. Anyways, I don't trust everything that I see on the internet, and I don't trust that one.
You
I've been
shouldn't either,
using
except for
these
us.
cards for a really long time. But the one thing I will say is, SD cards do degrade over time.
They are being pulled in and out of your camera constantly. They're being put in a little case. They're transferred. They're moved.
What I would say the biggest risk with SD cards is, one, losing them.
Yeah.
Or two, them splitting in half. Because I have had that happen where you put it in or pull it out too quickly and it actually physically splits, and it is generally unrecoverable if it actually physically splits in half. If the sensors and everything are all intact, you may be lucky. I have had one split in half that I was still able to recover.
Wild.
Because it stayed somewhat together. But anyways,
That's
obviously
terrifying.
good reason to shoot on 2 cards at all times.
And if you can, just transfer right from the camera body using USB-C, just to make sure you're not taking those cards in and out. It made me think of something, because when I was a theater kid back in high school, there was these bulbs and these lights we had for the stage.
Okay.
That my teacher and mentor at the time, Mr. Hoke, was like, do not touch these bulbs. And this is like grade 9 I learned this, because the oil from your fingers can get onto the bulb and it gets so hot that it actually degrades.
Oh.
He's like, the oil from your hands actually destroys a lot of things. Like it's part and parcel of the reason that you have to clean the outside of your body or your camera all the time.
Yes.
Not all the time, but often enough. But like the oils you excrete from your fingers damage things. I'm wondering if that's true for SD cards over time as well, if you're constantly pulling them out.
I think it probably, anything plastic or rubbery plastic, like that's why like the grip on our cameras starts to get like nasty over time.
Because they get hot, the glue separates. It's probably the same for the
100%.
SD cards. They're just glued together pieces of plastic.
Especially for people that wear makeup. Like you're just
more
getting more crap
greases
on there.
and oils.
Yeah.
Would you recommend retiring old ones? What's your process?
So I would say retire them. The thing is, you have to know which ones are your old ones and which ones are your new ones.
Bingo.
So for me, this is what I do. I write the number on the back of my SD card. So I'm up to 78 or something like that of SD cards.
Yeah.
And then it's super simple. It's an Excel spreadsheet, and it has the number of SD cards that I have.
Yep.
And then it has the year that I purchased them, or the date that I purchased them.
Yep.
The
number
date
coordinating
that I retired them.
Yes.
And so I don't.
And what was shot on
throw
which?
them out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's in my workflow spreadsheet, which is still associated with the SD management. So I have
it's coming up.
I have an SD management spreadsheet that just tells me overall where things were. But then when I'm actually shooting, I have an Excel spreadsheet that I've talked about before, but that just tells me what I have shot. So say I did Timothy's family session, the date that I shot it, then I put down the SD card, which was honestly, I have to figure out a new system this year, because when I was shooting to dual SD cards, that was really easy. But now I have XQD and an SD card. And I've been just leaving the XQDs in because they're 512 gigs. So I can shoot a bunch of things on those. So now I have XQD1, XQD2, because I only have 2 of them.
Because they're crazy big and expensive.
They're very big. They're very expensive.
Those ones fall apart so easily.
Don't
the
tell me
XQD
that.
and the CF Express, the plastic bit you use to pop it in and out, comes off completely.
Oh, I don't want to hear about that.
It's a nightmare.
That's terrible.
It's the worst. Everyone I've seen who has an XQD or a USB type, whatever the one is, the big, fat, thick boy.
Chonky boy.
Falling apart.
Okay.
It's not great.
So Cool.
Great.
I use a CF Express because it's much faster.
So my point is,
transfer
leave it in the
images.
camera if you can. Just leave it in there.
Yeah, right. Like, but I mean, I have to pull it out to copy.
Can you not use the
images over.
USB? Does it not work?
But that's not as fast. The fastest thing to do is to put your CF Express into a CF Express reader directly
Very
into your
true.
card. So hence the joy of the CF Express. Regardless, track when you've purchased them.
Yes.
Because if you are like me, buying the exact same brand forever and ever, amen. I always have SanDisk Pros. You will literally never know if that one is your 5-year-old one or your current one.
Yeah.
And so I would say, I don't throw them out because I'm a hoarder. And like, God forbid, every single layer of my backups go wrong and somehow I need to recover something from 3 years ago.
You know which card it was on.
I know which card it was on. I'm going to pull the card out.
You can at least get JPEGs or reference files, right? Something.
Yeah. So I don't throw out anything memory related ever.
same.
I literally never delete
Until it
anything
falls
and I
apart.
don't throw it out.
Yeah.
So no, I even have cracked SD cards. I
cool.
literally, I have a bucket and SD cards take up 0 space. So I just have like a little bucket that has all of my old shitty cards in it. And also I think it's just funny. I'll look back at it one day and be like, there are millions of people's memories on here. Like, not millions of people's, there are millions of memories on these cards.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to think about.
It is interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
It's an heirloom of sorts. Retire your SD cards
Get rid of the old
is
ones.
the long story long there. And this is, not like the most important part here of the spring cleaning, but upgrade your old shit. If you're like, yeah, that lens has been giving me grief for ages and I
lens.
really I should deal with it now.
Go into your closet, find the box it came with.
Go and sell it. Okay?
I have a problem with this.
And
sell it.
And go and sell it.
Yeah.
Or like, give it to, if it's really old and really crappy, go and give it to a photography school or a student that's learning or something like that. But if you're finding that, the focus isn't as sharp as it needs to be or whatever that may be, if you're still shooting on a DSLR and you're a full-time professional photographer, it's probably time to come over to mirrorless. It's
Z5
probably
Mark II just came out. That was pretty cool.
It's probably time to upgrade your shit. So that is gear in a nutshell.
That's the gear.
Do you have any thoughts? Anything else I'm missing? If not, we'll move on to
Yeah,
work.
batteries, super important. Those play as well. So make sure you go into your camera settings, plug your battery into your camera.
And you can test
You can test your battery health, just much like your
learned this.
phone.
I didn't know.
You can plug it in, and it'll tell you how much of your 100% is still available. So it'll only charge to 80%, basically. It'll say 100% on the camera itself, but it's only charging up to 80%, which gives you less time, less photos. So make sure that you're updating things like your flash if it's falling apart. Godox has a awful proclivity to fall apart in my hands. I have 3 broken ones, which is very exciting. They half work, which is why I invested in ProPhoto, and it's working great. So use this time to look at old gear that you think might be consumable, might be falling apart, and just get it the fuck out of here and replace it with something that works. Battery is very important.
Yeah, the battery health thing was new to me, and that was actually when I was trying to workshop what the hell was wrong with my R6s. That was one of the things that I learned was like, oh, maybe I'm constantly putting in batteries that have poor health. I think Christea has taught me that. So, okay, moving on to your workspace. This one is my favorite because the only reason why we actually have why we got the studio and why I said 100% yes, we need a studio is because I cannot get anything done in a workspace that isn't clean and tidy.
Clean and also separate.
No, it doesn't need to be separate.
Really?
My house I could be working from home, no problem.
I get work so much better done.
If my house was clean.
Okay.
But my house is not always clean.
It's got 2 animals.
And Taylor has his own separate office within our home, which we used to use together, but that was not a good flow, especially the more YouTube that he does. He's yapping into a mic every few hours. So I couldn't really work from home because for me, and I think this is pretty common for women specifically, is that you start looking at all of the tasks around you. So my workspace was my island in our kitchen, which I still use frequently. I do love it. I like to work from home every once in a while. I look directly into our secondary bathroom. I'm looking into our kitchen. I'm overlooking the sink. And then
the dog bowl is here.
And then around the hall is our laundry. Right. And all I'm thinking about is all of the shit that needs to be done at home.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a separate workspace. All of that to say, give some thought to your workspace. Is it working for you? I think to take all of these things and think high level first and then think more macro. So if you're thinking I think more micro, I don't know. Think about it at a high level
Macro. Think about it from a high level.
Think about it from a high level. We're so smart. Are we the smartest? Think about it from a high level of like, is this working for me? Am I enjoying this?
Yes.
Do a little check-in with yourself, because it is so easy for us once we're going to not be thinking about, why am I frustrated? Why do I feel panicked? Why do I feel disorganized?
When I feel like this one task has like an elephant's weight behind it because of the mental load of thinking about the laundry, the cat dish,
and perhaps
the
it's
kitchen.
time for you to separate your workspace from where it currently is. If you are a couch sitter and you are constantly working from the couch and you're thinking, my back.
Yeah, why does that hurt?
Why does my back hurt? Why am I constantly needing physiotherapy?
Yeah.
Give it a quick thought.
Think about it.
If you have thought about that and you thought, hell yeah, I love the couch. Maybe you have like a work bucket or something beside you that keeps like your laptop cable. You have like a little desk thing that you sit your laptop on, something just that makes it feel a little bit more separate mentally, because a lot of us do work from home.
Yes.
If you are fortunate enough to have a desk and an office space, whether it be in your home or out of your home, take a look at it. Is that looking nice? Is it
looking
clean?
fine? My office at home houses all of my clothes in the closet, and I keep that door closed so I know. And when there's laundry on the chair that sits there, I'm like, this has to be taken care of.
You have a laundry chair.
I have a laundry chair.
Yeah, I don't have a laundry chair. I just have a laundry floor.
Okay. But having like that room is completely mine. So everything I own pretty much, aside from stuff in the basement.
It's like your own Tim's room.
Yeah, pretty much. And aside from like our shared stuff, Kelly and I, like that's everything in that room is 100% mine.
Yes.
And so for me to be productive in that space, which is infrequent because it's often not clean, everything has to be put away.
Right.
Off the floor.
Right.
Moved. And I've worked out of that room for months of just like
you
clutter.
did during COVID, right? Like for a good chunk of COVID when it was messy. Because we would have calls and I would be like,
God, what are you
how are you
doing?
living in there?
Not well. So yeah, I find I do work better when the space is clean. And also just it's mentally a more pleasing space to walk into. You know what I mean? That's why coffee shops don't look like a fucking nightmare. They're clean spaces for the most part because they want you to be productive.
It just feels good. The other thing that I think is really important is think about your workspace. Most of us, our workspace is not just a desk or a couch or whatever. It's a car and it's your camera bag. So look at your camera bag. I'm still on the hunt. I am still on the hunt for a really nice, really aesthetic looking camera bag that matches my like brand
Not
vibe.
for lack of trying. Not for
lack of trying, dudes. I have been looking for a really nice one. I did find a nice one, but it is in the United States and their shipping fees are unbelievable, astronomical. So I shan't be doing that.
No.
If you know of any camera bags, slings, backpacks, anything that you think, wow, that's really pretty, can you please tell me? Because I'm desperate to find one.
She needs to see it.
In the meantime, I have been cleaning and I actually like pulled all of the stuff out of my Peak Design bag.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Peak Design is a really good fabric that you can actually wipe down, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So I've been cleaning, cleaning out all the pockets and random things and pulling stuff out of it.
So much dust. So much little like crumbs from like
little things.
Crackers and stuff.
Yeah, like
little parrots.
like plastic, like plastic from, I don't know.
How many nails do you find in there?
Well, I don't find many nails because these are my nails.
Oh,
like I don't glue them on.
Okay. That
would be weird.
If we can have a moment for the nails, please.
I do have a spring nail on. They actually are like little sakuras. So I'm cleaning out my camera bag.
Yes.
Tim, let's talk about car cleaning.
Oh boy.
So I am a huge advocate for a clean car.
Yes.
I used to be a dirty car girl.
Me too.
Just freaking nasty.
Not great.
Okay. This is a true story. I once got pulled over by a ride program, which for those of you who are not from this area, it's a drinking and driving checkpoint.
Yeah.
I was working at a bar.
They're not permanent. They're just set up on the side of the road for popular nights of the year.
Usually on the highway, you get on an on-ramp, and this is where I was.
Big holiday weekends. They'll set those up. Yeah.
I was coming home from my job working at a bar.
Yes.
Smelling like a bar.
St. Louis.
And no.
Oh.
Beer Town.
And
it was like probably 2 or 3 in the morning.
Great.
Cop was looking
to make his quota. Yeah.
And was like, you're coming from where? I told him. He was like, okay, well, this actually is interesting. This kind of goes back to our last week's conversation about what they have the right to do. if they visibly in our area in Ontario, if a police officer has reason to believe that you have been drinking, they're allowed to search your vehicle for alcohol.
Crazy.
My car was an absolute shithole.
You should have handed a garbage bag and clean it up.
The man, so this is also at the time when I was working at a brewery. And let me clarify, I had not been drinking.
Yeah.
I do not drink and drive.
Yep.
If I even have a drink, we do not drive. Okay, we're adults here. I had been working at a brewery and also at this bar called Beer Town, and my car reasonably smelled like alcohol, and so did I.
Yeah.
And because I was working at the brewery, I had cases of beer in the back of my car.
Yes.
And the guy gave me a ticket for having an open container
What was
of
it?
alcohol in the back of my car because he was able to combine enough beer in the empty beer cans to create 2 ounces of beer.
Come on, dude.
In a bag. Yeah. Oh, no. Like literally, I got a ticket for having an open container in my car. Thankfully, that's actually not against your driving license. That's the same as having an open container on the street in public.
Okay.
So I didn't get like a driving related offense. I just
That's
got
good,
like an
'cause
open container.
insurance, man.
But it was multiple hours of me sitting at the side of the road getting
Wow.
a breathalyzer and doing this whole thing. And do you know what this asshole of a cop said? Listen, I don't think all cops are the worst. I have many cops that are great people, but this man should have retired. He goes to me, you have a lot of stuff in your car. I was like, yeah. He was like, if you had a cleaner car, I probably wouldn't have searched it.
Wow. Profiling.
Truly, like literally profiling. He was like, your car's a mess. So I kind of figured you were a mess too. And I was like, no, I'm like a piano teacher.
I have 16 jobs because of the economy you created, you fucking boomer piece of shit.
Oh, Tim's mad. I was in full-time school. I was working my ass off. I had just started doing photography on the side. Like I was literally doing...
And I'll never buy a house.
I was doing absolutely everything. And my car was a shithole.
Yeah.
And honestly, it probably was representative of how my
Of your
brain
mind.
was at 21 years old.
Totally.
Now, we've
Here we
learned
are.
from some things.
2025.
Not that I'm getting pulled over regularly because I am not frequently driving home at 2:00 in the morning.
Just red light
anymore.
camera.
I do get a lot of red light tickets, let me tell you that one.
It's not our fault. It's just the area we live in.
It's not our fault. I just run red lights really often.
I'm just on my phone.
No, it's not that. You know what it is? Because in the Defender, it literally goes ping, ping whenever there's a red light
Yes.
camera. So I look at my camera.
And then when you look up,
I
you're
look
like,
at my
oh,
computer screen to be
click.
like, what is it notifying me of? And then it's either a speed camera or a red light camera. And by the time I look up and I'm like, oh, it's a red light, I've already gone through it.
Great.
So I did get 3 red light tickets within the span of like the first 6 months of
But
me
also,
owning
it's the
this
route
car.
you take. It's the streets we live on. It's not your fault.
But
Yeah.
I haven't gotten any since then. It was just the first few months of me having this
Yeah.
car. I digress. We have learned some things.
Yes.
And one of the things that I've learned, especially because so much of my year is spent in my car, and I'm sure most of us that do family sessions and like shoots throughout the week can relate.
Yes.
Your car becomes
Your office.
everything
Your-
for you.
Your home. It's your point A to point B and point C, because on a wedding day you have multiple locations. You're constantly getting in and out of you have water bottles back there. You have
Yeah.
cans of Red Bull. You
got your
have
personal life.
empty coffee cups.
If
you
you're a
have
parent-
umbrellas. You have tripods. You have a ton of stuff. And then not to mention, not even the work day. Like you have things at home. Like you're a parent. You have all your kids' stuff. You have Cheerios everywhere. You have grocery
Cheerios,
bags.
man.
All those reusable bags that we keep buying. And I have a mountain in my basement of reusable bags. It flooded the other week.
No, you can donate them.
Where?
I don't know. My mother-in-law told me that you can donate them to
To
like
where?
Goodwill or something,
Oh,
and then
great.
they use them like to like put people's stuff in, I think.
Because I just feel I can't throw them away.
Well, no, because it's actually worse, I think,
It's
than
worse.
plastic.
They'll live
now you've got
longer.
all of this stuff. Yeah, it's insane. So clean out your car.
Yes.
My recommendation, because this is
Might
how
be
I
mine
have
too. Wanna
this
hear
is
it?
how I have become like a clean car girl.
Okay.
Okay. Because in all things in my life, whenever something's driving me insane, I
Yes.
have to create a process for it. So I bought a car wash membership.
Yes.
It's $60 a month. It's so insane. Like there's absolutely no reason to buy the $60 a month one. You can just not do that. You can buy like a 10-pack or something like that. But if you purchase for the year or even for monthly or whatever, you will use it. But the car wash that I go to, it's called the Halo, and it has vacuums and like car bays
Yeah.
at every single one. So you drive your car through, it cleans the exterior, and then it drives you in, and then you drive into this bay. And so once a week, literally once a week, I go there and I have therapy time. You may have seen me do this on Instagram. I posted on it saying this is just cheaper than therapy because
Yeah.
it's so relaxing for me. but I go and I clean out my trunk. I vacuum everything down. I get rid of all the garbage so that on a wedding day or whatever, I know where stuff is. I'm not worried that like my gear is rolling around in the back because I haven't put the seats up properly or whatever, right? I do a quick reset once a week. And then the other thing that I have done is I bought this like amazing car organizer. I'm going to send it to you.
Great.
You might like it, but also we'll put it as a link into this. All of my favorite car organization things we'll link to because I actually am obsessed with this. As people that live out of your car, this car organizer has a zip for shoes and then a separate compartment that I keep a change of clothes. So if you're ever shooting and something goes awry, I don't know,
maybe
whatever.
Something fell on you.
Yeah.
Maybe you got something fallen on you.
Some kid threw up on you. I don't know. You fell over. You forgot you had a shoe. This has never happened to me, but imagine it did. You forgot you had a shoe and you're wearing your workout clothes. You've got like, I've got a whole second outfit in the car.
Ready to go.
And then I also have a backup SD card and a battery. The battery is like an iffy thing. You got to make sure your car's not getting too hot or way too cold.
Big go.
But definitely have some extra SD cards or whatever.
Totally. Just kicking around somewhere in the glove box. If you don't have the energy for a membership to drive to a place and have therapy because you have a therapist appointment, you can set up a thing, which I did this year, which was great. It's a car cleaning service that comes to your home or predetermined location. You set a time on the app through their web portal. You pay for it all through there, and they show up and they have their own van with materials, chemicals, all the cleaning supplies you need to interiorly process and clean your car.
Yeah.
They did a full detail in my driveway.
Cleaning.
It took like an hour and a half. One note is do not get the deodorizing thing. It made me want to die. Like it felt like I was being gassed.
Tim came to pick me up the day after he had this done, and I was like a golden retriever with my head out the window.
It was awful, dude.
It was so bad.
I had it running for like half an hour beforehand just to like clear everything out with all the windows out, and it was still an awful smell. So unless you have a skunk throw up and die into a diaper in your car, you don't need the deodorizing spell.
If Tim and I die prematurely, we're blaming this deodorizer.
Yeah.
Literally, we both are.
Yeah. It's gonna kill us.
If we start making no sense, even less sense than we normally do, it's because of this.
Track it on this.
Start right now if we start being nonsense.
But it's something you can do. It's something very simple to do. And from a professional standpoint, I've been at many weddings where it's like, oh no, there's not enough room in the limo or for the vehicles for another groomsperson.
My biggest nightmare.
Or bridesperson. Or like the bride and groom have to get in your car because we want to go off location because it's something that came up as a surprise. And I need to drive them. If I'm in a car that looks like the landfill, they're going to be like, wow, this fucking sucks. I hate this guy. They won't say it to your face, but they'll feel it in their heart and they'll value you less.
Tim, let me tell you. Can I tell our listeners about the time that you...
Oh, do you want to know about the rat?
2 really good stories for you. One, Tim had a rat in his car.
For 48 hours.
For 48 hours. He drove around with a rat living in his car. Yeah. And his car was such a shithole. Yeah. Respectfully.
No, respectfully. Agreed.
That he wasn't sure if the nest that the rat was making was a nest or just his own filth. Because he had like papers and shit in there. It was
Shout out to Jose for noticing the rat and being really aggressive towards the front console of the car.
Yes, his dog Jose was like, what's going on? What's going on? Why is there movement? Why does it smell like an outdoor being?
Yeah.
To explain to people how this happened, it was the winter.
Yes.
And Tim was a responsible homeowner, and he got out, opened his car door to like come to the studio.
Yeah.
Realized, oh shoot, I haven't salted our front walkway.
I shoveled it, didn't salt it. Let the door open. I gotta go
salt it.
Because I had my keys in there. I didn't want the door to lock, and then I'm like, fucked. So I'm like, I'll just leave the door open a bit. It took maybe 8 seconds to salt the walk. Maybe.
And a rat climbed into his freaking car and existed in his car
for 48
hours before he trapped it. Live trapped, but it did die when it was released.
Yeah, I went to the store. I bought every trap I could find.
Well, he first bought a mouse trap, and I said, that's not a...
It wasn't big enough. And I realized that after coming home from a wedding at the chapel, I turned around because I had all these traps in my car. I'm like, okay, cool. And I saw one was triggered, and I looked around the back
But there was
seat,
blood.
And I saw a tail. I'm like, oh, fuck. And so I'm already driving at this point, and I'm like making all the sound I can so it doesn't jump on my face and my shoulder. Because Jeff told me that this happened to someone he knew.
No.
It jumped on his shoulder and ran out the window. It was disgusting. So
I would have simply...
driven into a wall.
I would have driven into a wall all, I would have pulled my car over. I would have lit a match and a cigarette in my hand and walked away.
Thelma and Louise? Oh no, you would let it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched the car
a rag
burn,
in the gas tank.
And I'd be
light
like,
it.
oh, that's crazy. That car is like, I don't smoke, but I would light a cigarette for this moment.
Yeah.
Because I would never be able to get into that car again.
Yeah.
So when you were like, yeah, I had a rat in my car, I was like, I'm not at all surprised.
Sell it.
But not that there's going to be a rat in your car. It's far more likely that it's going to be like a groomsman. Speaking of groomsmen, do you remember the time that you had to drive a groomsman and he asked you if he could do coke in your car?
He asked if first of all, he was polite.
He asked if you wanted
Do you
some.
want a bump? I said, no. I'm driving. I can see the venue from where we're at, but I still think it's best if I keep my responsibilities, my hands up here to make sure that we all survive.
So anyways, the man did cocaine in Tim's car off of the console because it was really clean. It's really clean. Tap a little line out.
So maybe it's a con.
So maybe
column.
you should actually keep your car nasty so that nobody wants to do coke in your car.
No clean glass surfaces for people to do cocaine.
If somebody said to me, "Can I do coke in your car?" I'd probably be like, "I need you to go now."
It was middle of the day. I was tell him to go fuck himself. I can't.
It's too early in the day.
It was also the sun was out. It was remarkable that he really wanted to.
When you're a drug addict, nothing will really cease.
That's true.
Obviously that's not the behavior of a normal person.
Yeah.
So moving on from car
to
cleaning
workflows. Let's talk about workflow.
So here's something that I've been doing recently.
Please, I want to hear it.
Because one of the things that I realized for this year that I really wanted to improve,
Okay. Sure.
was my client experience. I think I've talked about this before. Talked about it at the beginning of the year of just like, what are the touch points for my clients that are not necessarily
meaningful.
Yeah, that are important to them, but that also could use some more attention.
Sure.
Email communication is huge. I send like 5,000 emails a day.
It's primary, right?
It's so exhausting, and a lot of it is being like just really, really repetitive. We're saying the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
Somebody reaches out and says, I want to inquire. What are my steps here? What do I send them?
From soup to nuts.
From when they inquire to, okay, now you're booked in. Now what do I send them? Okay, so you're booked in. I want to send them congratulations for booking your wedding with me. I'm so excited. Here are the next steps of what to expect from me. I'm going to send them thank you so much for working with me. I'm going to tell them if they have an engagement session booked, what to expect for the engagement session. If they don't have an engagement session booked, I'm going to tell them when we next need to communicate.
Yes.
All of those sort of workflowy type things.
So they realize that you got them.
Yes, I don't want people to be questioning, and I know that I did this for many years.
Yeah.
I left them questioning so that they had to reach out to me and be like, hey, what's happening now?
You know what that was? Not to put blame on yourself because I don't think you should. It was a not workflow. It was a volume of work.
Yes.
You had so many weddings. This is when you're shooting like 60 weddings a year.
But now I feel like I'm more prepared to shoot 60 weddings a year than I ever was because I have the workflows in place, right?
Bring them on.
But it was really just, I was in demand and I was shooting a ton and my pricing was probably too low.
Yes.
So I was getting literally every inquiry that came through. If I was available, I was booking it without a doubt. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
It was like I felt like I couldn't fail. I mean, I was failing in that I was shooting 60 weddings a year and not making $500,000 at a minimum. That's probably what I should have been doing. But I'm looking at things as a more like, okay, I'm charging a higher amount. I'm no longer charging $2,000 a wedding.
Yep.
What's an elevated experience that I can provide people that's not just photography specific, that is photography related,
but also wedding resource related, right?
So I want people to come to me so that on a wedding day when I'm like, why are these bridesmaids not prepared? I think to myself,
who told them to be prepared?
Perhaps they don't know how to be more prepared. So then I am now creating these guides of like, here's what to give your bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Here's how to tell them how to help themselves and how to help you as the bride.
Bingo.
And sorry for using gendered terms. But then, on the guys side of thing, the groom and the groomsmen, providing them with like, can you give this to your guys to tell them like, do not forget your socks, your belt, your shoes, the pin, whatever they are, buttons that go in your tuxedo shirt. I'm sure that they get these reminders from like a suit rental place, but a lot of people do non-traditional weddings now, right? So they are just telling their guys, just have a black suit.
Yeah.
So who's telling them? if not me? And whose day gets most rocked when the groomsman doesn't have his shoes or he doesn't have a belt? It's us. We are the ones that then have to sacrifice that. And so then our client experience is worse. So I'm just kind of looking at all of it, taking all the many years of experience and all of the shit that's gone wrong, and I'm putting it into resources for my clients. And I've been doing this over years. Like in my course, Better Than Booked, I do offer like photo checklists and some email templates and stuff, but I'm just taking it one step further and making them like even more significant. So I've already started revamping my checklists and that sort of experience for my clients. And I'm actually sending individual Google Doc checklists this year so that when they update it, it comes directly to me and vice versa. And it's also how I'm making it so that it's not gendered bridegroom. So that I can actually just put in people's names. So it just says, I actually have it set up so it says partner A, partner B, and then I do a find and replace for partner A, and that's
brilliant.
One of the
it's
people,
personalized,
and partner
and
B
it's
is
also
the second.
templated, so it's easily repeatable.
And then they can look at it and be like, okay, Jessica's family, what's Jessica's family look like? And then she can say if she has a mom, dad, whatever, she can customize it herself from there. It is set up like a nuclear family from that aspect, but that's the first thing I've been doing.
I have been texting people.
I love this.
As you know, on most people, we ask for name of partner A, partner B, venue, wedding date, time of ceremony, reception if it's different than the ceremony space in terms of like venue, and then also phone number. So gathering people's phone number, 99% of the time it's not a landline. We're in 2025 here, people. We're not dealing a lot with landlines anymore.
105% it's not a landline. 105%
it's not a landline. So you can text that number, and with inquiries when they come in, I will format an email ready to go that is either based from a template, or if it's something more customizable, I'll write it myself and like give them context that they give me more information about what they're excited about for their day, how they met, all that stuff, and the tell me more about yourself. But I will send them a text along with email saying, hey, it's Tim. You inquired with me, photographer.
Yes. So I have booked
but
two meetings this past week because of the text message.
And that's not just a text. It's a text with that information, as well as a video I do quickly on my phone to be like, hey, Tim, excited for your date. It's available on my calendar. I'll send you an email. Sometimes it gets caught up in spam. That's just the nature of emails these days. Check your spam. Next steps from there. I'm excited to talk to you more about your day. Have a good day. Click.
That's so nice.
As well as a text message relaying basically the same information in case they don't get the video. And that way it's like another touch point. But because they have my phone number now,
and they typically will respond to the phone.
When they book, I tell them all the time, and this rarely happens, like, if you have any questions or anything, send me a text. They never do.
Oh, really?
I can tell you they rarely do.
This is the
it's good for wedding day.
This is the big difference between Tim and I, because Tim and I get communications very, very differently.
Interesting.
I think it's because of my social media behavior and the fact that I'm a woman.
Tell me about that.
But I think it's because I'm on my stories more frequently than you are, so people feel like we already have an open dialogue.
They will communicate with me about silly things on my stories.
I wish that I got the silly things. I primarily get questions about literally everything. Through every communication channel possible if I'm not very, very clear about how I'd like to be communicated with.
Boundaries.
So I had one client last year that I literally, she would send me a message on Instagram, and every single time I would respond to her by email. Every single time. And I think it's just, that's how she wanted to communicate. And I totally understand that. And part of me is like, I should meet them where they're at. That's how she wants to communicate. But that's like a really solid way for us to
lose the plot,
have me forget something really important. So if she sent me a reel on Instagram and said, can we do this? I would respond to her on Instagram and say, hell yeah, this is so fun. I absolutely love it. And then I would take that reel and I would put it into an email and I would say, just reminding you. But now with my current workflow of everybody getting their own customized checklist and Google Doc, the Google Doc with their checklist, now I've been putting any reels or Pinterest boards or like inspo photos people are randomly sending me on Instagram or whatever, I've been putting it in there. I used to put the onus on my clients and say, make sure you just save this and send it to me all in one about a month before, which I still will do. Especially if they send it to me on like a Saturday or a Sunday night or something like that. I'm like, send this to me by email and I'll make sure we get this done. But I do find that when I send people the initial text message, they will respond to that instead of by email to the like inquiry email.
Okay.
So I had an inquiry come through a couple of days ago.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I think I cut you off. We were just yapping. I got an inquiry that came through for a wedding, a referral from a florist this week, which is so nice. Thanks, Sue. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Sue.
And the bride inquired through my website, like contact form, which also does take in their phone number.
Yes.
And I responded to her right away, but I use Superhuman for my emails, you know, and it does have an automatic email tracking. So it tells me when things have been opened and how many times an email has been opened.
Yep.
And I could see that after 6 hours, the email hadn't been opened. And based on her inquiry, I felt like she was the kind of person that would have opened it quite quickly.
Right.
She seemed excited to work together. So I followed up with a text message. She read the text message, but didn't respond right away. And I remember I was telling you, I was like, does this girl not want to work together with that? What's the deal? But then she responded to the text the next day saying she has kids. Hey, sorry, got caught up.
Yeah.
Would love to talk to you. I had sent my Calendly in the email, but obviously this woman's running and gun. She's got a couple of kids. She's planning a wedding. She's busy.
Yeah.
So I sent her the link to the Calendly in our text.
Yeah.
And then she booked in right away. So it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Do you meet them where they're at?
Right.
And do you figure out what works best for them versus what works best for your workflow?
You'll know better than we will, but this just works. Both ends of the spectrum here.
High level,
Yes.
take a look at what you were doing last year, what you felt like were your pain points. You know, are you getting ghosted? Are you not getting responses? Then maybe the video thing is a good idea. Always following up by text message, and always having an email tracker so that you can actually determine whether or not people are getting your emails.
Yeah.
I actually had
you
a
can
client
silently judge them, which is nice.
I had a client ghost me this weekend.
Yes, you did.
I had a client ghost me on
Yes,
Sunday.
you did.
That was a first. That was a first in a really freaking long time.
Yeah.
And listen, when people say I had people ghost me, typically this is what they mean. Somebody inquired with me, I sent them my pricing, and then they never responded back. That's not being ghosted. That means somebody inquired with 300 photographers and you were just one of them. That's not a ghost. This is a ghost. This girl booked me for her maternity and newborn package back in November for this April. Currently the month we're in. And she booked it with a deposit and a signed contract with the date, but we didn't have a location selected.
Right.
I sent her my PDF guide of planning your family session.
Yes.
It includes some location suggestions. And then I also said, if you need help picking a location, just let me know.
Yep.
But otherwise, here are the locations I typically work at in this area. She had messaged me on Instagram like a few weeks ago asking about one of the studios that I had posted, saying, do you think this would be suitable?
Yeah.
I said, yes, here's the link to go and book it if you are interested in booking it. And that's the last time I've heard from her. And I will say I am a little concerned that something bad has happened, obviously, because it's just a maternity and newborn session. So that always scares me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case because she has been opening all of my emails.
Okay.
And she's been opening them quickly. Which made me feel really confident in my decision to say, hey, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel your shoot because I haven't heard from you. I've been emailing you asking about what location you want. I've been emailing you asking to pay me the final balance, which is the balance on the whole package. So it is large. It's a maternity and newborn package. And somebody ghosted me. And the only way that I would have known confidently that I'm not ghosting her is because I've been sending all of these emails
and the receipts,
and I've been seeing that she's been opening them.
Yeah.
So getting something like Superhuman or even an add-on to your Gmail, there's a thing called Mail Tracker. I think you use it.
Yep.
That's like a paid subscription. You can just pay to see, and it tells you not only when they've opened it, it tells you how many times they've opened it, and it also tells you if you have multiple people on an email string, which one of them's opening.
Yeah, and it also tracks IP. So if they're not like ghosting or like they don't have like a IP tracker, halting thing, like a do not look at me kind of thing, you can see where in the world they are roughly, which is creepy.
Last year, Tim and I shot a wedding.
Yeah.
We both delivered the photos and video and we never heard from the couple
At
again.
all.
But we had been hearing murmurings that maybe things had gone south for them quite early on. So I was not about to be checking in. That was not for me.
That was in June. We got an email in December being like, where are our photos and video?
Where are
I'm
our
like,
photos and video?
Girl,
And
you had them in July.
But the best part was
Yeah.
I sent it to both the bride and the groom.
Yes.
and the groom opened the email 6 times. And so that was so satisfying to me.
I don't know.
Because she said that she didn't get them. And thankfully
she didn't get them.
She was really kind about
She was
it.
lovely.
She wasn't blaming us or anything. She
We love
just said,
you.
we're looking at this, trying to figure out what we're going to do for some photos. And I finally have some time to sit down and talk about making an album or something with my husband.
Yeah.
And wondering where the photos are. And
Talk to your husband.
I sent her a little screenshot saying, hi, the email has been sent and received. And perhaps your husband's assistant opened it and didn't tell him. Maybe that's what happened.
Could be.
But
So
it was
think
clear to say it had been opened. So that's maybe a thing you want to add into your workflow if it's not there yet.
So if you can check on your couples, make sure that they're finding things the way they need to using an email tracker, just following up with a text, make sure that nothing's going out of control. Just take a look at your overall client experience and see what needs fixing, greasing, and made better. One more thing.
The last and most important thing,
Okay.
I think, really on the workflows thing is double and triple check your backups.
Yes.
I've talked about my system, how I use it, like just a simple Google Sheets.
Yep.
I truly don't care if you just write that shit down as to where things are, whatever it is.
I have a row in my case where the SD cards go for weddings I've not delivered yet, and they live in there, and I have enough SD cards, and I'm like, okay, we're done with that. And next wedding, it's ready to go.
If I start running out of cards, I know it's time for me to
it's
start
time to take a look at it. Take a look and see what needs to be delivered. No, but it's a really simple way that just mentally, it's physical. It's a physical thing where it's like, I don't touch this row. This row is verboten. It is not delivered yet. We don't touch it until we're delivered, or at least in the editing process or backed up online for sure.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things you have to make sure that works really well for you, whether that's a spreadsheet if you want to be really super organized in a digital space or a physical space. Whatever works. It's important to review that and make sure it's working for you, and look at last year and be like, hey, what sucked? What was stressful? What didn't go really well?
And just try to figure all that out.
Yeah.
The last thing really here is just like the software and computer side of things. And this is an easy one to touch on because you all know where your shit's messy, and all of our shit's messy in very different areas. But software and computer wise, clean up your cloud.
Yeah.
Whether you are using a gallery delivery system that you need to figure out, do those things need to all be there? Should I take them offline? Do I blah, 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 whatever it is that you're doing. For me, it's my Google Drive and my Dropbox, because I need to take Dropbox off and switch over to Google Drive. So that's something.
It's a wonderful place.
That's weighing on me
You're gonna
currently. Well, I've been using Google Drive and Dropbox for years.
Yeah,
so my Dropbox is just chilling. So that's a nightmare. So if you're doing that like me, save it. Here's another thing. This is also, I'm basically just shading myself here at this point. Clean up your desktop.
Yes.
So my hard drives are so meticulously organized, but my actual desktop has 3 folders: desktop inside of the desktop, and desktop inside of the desktop, from the number of times that I've literally taken everything and from my desktop, all the folders and random shit, and I've just copied them and dropped them into my desktop. That is a mess. That's a total mess. So
it's beautiful now. 2025, Apple's gotten really good at keeping things immediate.
I know. I'm like, what are we doing? Tim's just doing some editing here.
Screenshots, if you hit screenshots, they expand to show you like all of the screenshots. So everything is very collapsible now, which is very helpful.
They know that we're a mess. It means that you have so many things, right?
Yes.
And then I'm like, why do I have 500 screenshots that I probably didn't need to take? They're probably just me like sending lols to my friends.
Maybe you're editing a podcast and you need to have all these screenshots for things.
You might, but
I do.
Clean up your downloads folder, clean up your documents folder, clean up your photos folder. If you randomly have things automatically downloading to your photos folder, clean up your shit, okay? The very last thing, and this one makes me feel really good because I've been doing my taxes. Nobody feels good about doing their taxes. Well, you do if you feel like it's going to help you avoid going to jail. Is go through your credit card bills on a monthly basis. But if you haven't done that in a while, because maybe you have a bookkeeper and you don't look at your stuff regularly, go through the last 3 to 6 months and look at your subscriptions and see where you have been subscribing to things that you're no longer using. The other thing that I do is I do PayPal. PayPal and Apple subscriptions, because you might have subscriptions on your Apple that you didn't even know you were subscribed to because you signed up for the free trial.
7 days elapsed.
And you missed the notification coming through saying that you paid for it. And now you've been paying $120 for Visco for the past 3 years.
Good grief.
give it a little look-see, see where you're spending some money. PayPal's another good one. You can just go to subscriptions tab on all these things. And if you catch it fast enough on Apple, you can get a refund.
Yeah.
So I do this every 3 months, literally on the dot. Every 3 months I go through and I am constantly doing free trials that I forget to cancel. And then you can just go through and just ask for a refund. As long as you're not abusing the system. If they can clearly see you read that entire ebook, maybe don't do that. But for the things that you signed up for that you didn't mean to, do that, because our lives are so subscription based. It's insane. And you don't need to have, who was it that we know that paid for Adobe on 2 different accounts?
Oh God.
Yeah, we know somebody. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyways, was paying for the full Adobe subscription on 2 different accounts. I'm pretty sure it was Jeff Chang, maybe.
Oh God.
Anyways, somebody we know had
Sorry,
been,
man.
it might not have been.
Hope
somebody we know was getting charged by Adobe 2 different times, but because it was a normal thing, they would see Adobe and they'd be like, sounds good.
$148.
Until they realized, oh, we're doing that a
It's
lot.
double.
That's happening 2 times. So
This is how we spring
clean. Okay.
You can spring clean
You're
differently,
nasty.
but we really want you to be on the level that we are at, or at least trying to get to. So if there's anything we missed, anything you think we could improve upon, or anything that you're doing differently, please let us know in the comments below. We need your spring cleaning 5 stars on all the things you listen to and watch us on.
We need
Give us
it.
the positive reviews.
Please.
If
If you're not offended, if you're not offended by our insults yet, you will be. But beforehand, if you're not insulted, come on over, give us a 5-star review. Tell us how much we have helped improve your life and your workflows and all of the things. We would love that. I am going to make sure that I put a link to my car organizational tips in the bottom of this episode. So make sure that you go on YouTube, check out the show notes.
Yes.
And you'll be able to purchase all of my car cleaning
Bits.
tools there. Okay, that's it for us.
Thank you so much for
Happy
liking,
spring.
commenting, subscribing, and sharing this video and this episode. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Ciao, buddy.